Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. My name is Julian, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about players that you can add to your team to help you catch up if you're losing, or add to your team to help you maintain that lead if you're already winning. The first section of this video, guys, is going to be dedicated to basically all leagues. I'm going to be talking about players that can get you points. Then I'm going to be jumping into some goalies, and then I'm going to be talking about specific categories for categories leagues if you need to catch up in that specific category. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Getting really close to 2,000 subscribers, so every subscription really helps me, guys. Thanks so much. Without further ado, let's jump right into the content. And there are 4 teams that play both Saturday and Sunday this weekend, and those teams are Detroit, Minnesota, the Islanders, and the Vegas Golden Knights. So if you got room in your lineup both Saturday and Sunday, do check if you do have room, because Saturday is quite a busy night, so there is a good possibility that you don't have room. But if you have room on both nights for a player to add to get you some points, my number one suggestion is Joel Eriksson Ek, currently rostered in 49% of leagues, so there's a good chance he's not available. But if he is, he makes for a really good ad this weekend. He does get to play that top line with Kaprizov and either Zuccarello or Foligno. Zuccarello's injured right now, so it is Foligno on that top line, although there is a chance that Zuccarello plays this weekend. Which brings me right to my next suggestion, which is Marcus Foligno, because he is playing on that top line in Minnesota, and he's looking pretty good right now. He has been producing a lot this season. If Zuccarello comes back this weekend, Foligno is still a decent ad to get you some points, but Zuccarello becomes an even better ad. Just keep an eye on that situation, guys. Next is Chandler Stevenson of the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and he makes for another excellent ad. He's owning just over 50% of leagues, so there's a chance that he's not owned in your league. And he has 10 points in 10 games, and that's without Stone and Pacioretty for the majority of the season. So he's actually putting together a pretty good season in his own right. Honestly, guys, makes for a pretty good ad this weekend if you got the roster space on Saturday and Sunday. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Nick Roy of the Vegas Golden Knights. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIPPED at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIPPED. Unlock your confidence, guys, and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. So do me a favor, guys, head over to manscaped.com, use that code word FANTASYTIPPED at checkout. You'll get 20% off, you'll get free shipping, and you'll get something nice for yourself. It's almost the Christmas season, guys, so get yourself, your father, your brother, your buddy a gift nice and early. Get your Christmas shopping done early and use the code word FANTASYTIPPED at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping on your order. Now, why do I like Nick Roy so much right now? Well, he's only 1% owned, and he's playing on the top line with Marchessault and Riley Smith. William Karlsson is out for a good while now, so it's going to be Nick Roy who's going to be playing on that top line. And as I'm recording this, Nick Roy got 2 assists tonight so far, so he's looking like he's going to be doing pretty good on that line. And honestly, guys, as a streamer for this weekend, makes for a pretty good one, and even going forward, he could be someone that you could be keeping on your roster. Next, I have Anders Lee of the New York Islanders. He's on a little bit of a cold stretch, but he's a really good player, and I do think that he can turn it around. If you don't want to take the chance on Anders Lee, you can go ahead and take one of the Islanders I have below. Nelson, Beauvillier, Palmieri, Pajot, all doing pretty decently. Nelson, tonight, looks like he just got 4 goals, which is absolutely insane. Obviously, don't expect that kind of production from Brock Nelson, but if you do want to pick up an Islander, these guys are decent options. Obviously, Josh Bailey is also an option playing on that top line with Lee and Barzal. Next is Ryan Hartman of the Minnesota Wild, and he's been putting together a pretty decent season. He's getting second line time because they don't really have any centers, so he is getting to center that second line, and he's been producing this year. He's also getting some second power play time, so he could do a lot worse than Ryan Hartman this weekend. Next, I have Robbie Fabry and Philip Zadina. Fabry right now is playing on the top line with Raymond and Bertuzzi since Larkin is out, and Zadina is getting time on that top power play. So both aren't the greatest ads in the world, but both definitely have the potential to get you a point or 2 this weekend. And last, I have Evgeny Dadonov, who's playing on the second line with Chandler Stevenson, and he's a very good player. Hasn't been doing that amazing, but he could definitely get you a couple points this weekend for sure. So now if you're looking in your lineup and you're like, oh damn, I don't have any room for forwards on Saturday, don't worry about it. I got you. You can either take the guys that I already mentioned, or you can go for one of these guys. And the first guy that I would go for is Troy Terry of the Anaheim Ducks. This guy is just tearing it up this season, and it doesn't even make sense. This guy's scoring left and right. Obviously, his scoring pace is going to slow down, but he's getting top line and a lot of power play time. I think he's going to be pretty good the entire season this year. Obviously, he's not going to keep this insane pace up, but as long as he's hot, he makes for an excellent add to your team, and he's definitely someone that I would keep after adding as well. Next are the other parts of his line, Ryan Getzlaf and Adam Henrique, and both those guys are also insanely hot right now. Both guys are getting a lot of points, so they definitely make for really good ads for this weekend, and I would hold on to them as long as they're hot, and you could even try trading them high afterwards. Next, I have Matt Duchene of the Nashville Predators, getting top line time, top power play time, playing pretty well as of late, makes for a good ad for this weekend. Same thing with Granlund. They play on the same line, usually with Philip Forsberg. Unfortunately, he's week to week. Now they got Luke Kunin, which is not quite as enticing on their line, I gotta say, but honestly, they're still both getting a lot of ice time and a lot of power play time. They're both good ads for Sunday for me. Next, I have Kirby Dach of the Chicago Blackhawks centering the top line with Kubalik and Patrick Kane. Didn't get any points in the last couple games, but you know what, guys? The points will start coming. Dach is a very talented player, and you basically bound to score points when you're playing with Patrick Kane. Don't mind the ad for Sunday. Next, I have Ryan Johansson, who's currently playing on the top line in Nashville with Eli Tolvanen and Rocco Grimaldi. That's arguably maybe the second line, but he's still getting a lot of top power play time, and lately he's been really producing. So as long as that keeps up, makes for a really good ad for Sunday. Next, I got Robert Thomas and Ivan Barbashev, both who play with Vladimir Tarasenko in St. Louis. Both have been very hot, though they kind of cooled down the last couple games. No worries though, if you need someone to stream just for one game, cross your fingers and hope that they get you a point. Next, I have Trevor Zegras, someone who's on the Ducks but hasn't quite been as hot as a lot of the other Anaheim Ducks. Don't worry about it though. Zegras is a very, very talented kid. He's a rookie this year, so cut him a little bit of slack. But if you want to add him and hope that he gets to a point this weekend, I don't hate it. Next, I got Brandon Saad, and he's not getting any power play time with St. Louis, but right now he's practicing on a line with Schenn and Perron, and that's going to become O'Reilly and Perron when I think O'Reilly's going to come back this weekend. So that's a pretty decent line, and there's a very good chance that he gets you a point on that line this weekend. Next is Brandon Hagel, who's playing with Jonathan Toews right now, who seems to have found his stride a little bit, and he's also getting second power play time, and Hagel's been producing a little bit lately, so honestly, for a guy who's 1% owned, you could do a lot worse. Next, I have Pearson and Höglander, who play with Bo Horvat on the second line in Vancouver. I don't mind their deployment. They get a lot of ice time. They don't produce that much, but you can cross your fingers and hope that they get you a point because they do play on a pretty good line. Next, I have Tolvanen and Kunin. Kunin plays with Granlund and Duchene, whereas Tolvanen plays with Johansson. I like Tolvanen a lot more now because now that Forsberg is out of the lineup, Tolvanen is starting to get top power play time. Maybe we see him rebound a little bit and score a few more points. Kunin is a decent ad as well. Next, I have Ginot and Sissons, who play on the third line in Nashville, and if you're insanely desperate, these guys could possibly get you points, but I mean, it's a third line, so you're really crossing your fingers here. So odds are you have room for a defenseman on both Saturday and Sunday. So who can you look into picking up for this weekend? My number one option right now is Noah Dobson, getting top power play time for the Islanders. Hasn't necessarily been the hottest, but the opportunity is there for him, and he's only 16% owned, so he's probably owned in your league and definitely could score you some points this weekend. Next, I have Alex Goligoski of the Minnesota Wild. Make sure that he's back in the lineup. Last I heard, he's still injured, so just make sure that he is going to be playing this weekend. If he does, he's going to be getting some second power play time and could potentially score you points. Like Dobson a lot more than him, though. Then I have Ryan Pulock of the New York Islanders, who's 42% owned, and he's getting second power play time, but he's not much of a point scorer. If you're desperate, though, he's someone who could potentially put up maybe a point in 2 games. Next is Filip Hronek, who seems to have really rebounded from that benching, scored 3 points in 5 games since then. So honestly, guys, if you need a point, Hronek really isn't the worst option. Then I have Nicholas Hague, who's not really seeing any power play time right now, but he's playing pretty well and getting top pairing time with Pietrangelo. You could do worse than Nicholas Haig. And then I have Nick Leddy, who seems to be getting a little bit of power play time on Detroit, but you got to be really desperate to be picking up Leddy to get you some points this weekend. And then I have Jonas Brodin, who's probably not going to see any power play time if Goligoski plays. And Brodin does see a lot of ice time, so if you're insanely desperate, Brodin is someone that you could also add to your team and cross your fingers that he gets you a point. Now, looking into some goalies that are going to possibly play on Sunday, and there really aren't many options, guys. The first one is Capo Kakkonen. He would be my number one ad, but you got to make sure that Talbot plays on Saturday. If Talbot plays on Saturday, Kakkonen will get the Sunday start, so you just got to keep your eye on that. Then I have Laurent Brossoit. Again, you got to make sure that Leonard gets the Saturday start. If Leonard gets the Saturday start, it will be Brossoit on Sunday. And then it will either be Nedeljkovic or Grice that gets the start on Sunday. One of them is going to get Saturday. One of them is going to get Sunday. So, guys, there really isn't a lot of options if you need a goalie on Sunday, but these are really the only ones. Moving on to the categories league section of the video, and first I have shots on goal, and the number one guy for me, there really aren't that many quality options for shots on goal that are low owned. Riley Smith would be the number one for me, and he's averaging just over 3 shots a game this season, which is not bad. And so if he's available in your league, he would be the number one guy I add for shots on goal. He also definitely has some points upside. Then I have Getzlaf, who didn't shoot the puck a lot last season, but he really seems to be hot right now, and he seems to be firing on all cylinders. So Getzlaf honestly would make for a pretty good ad for both points and shots on goal. Joel Eriksson Ek, since being elevated to the top line this season, is definitely shooting more. Don't mind him for shots on goal. Beauvillier seems to be shooting a good amount this year as usual. Adam Henrique seems to be shooting. And Brock Nelson, coming off a 4-goal game, definitely shoots the puck a good amount. Moving into the blocks now, and the same thing applies. Any name in green play both Saturday and Sunday. So first I have Connor Murphy, and he gets about 2 blocks per game. Last year his average was about 2.5, so that's why I have him first on this list, because he is the most reliable name on this list to possibly get you some blocks. He's only playing on Sunday though, so if you want a guy who plays on both Saturday and Sunday, I would look a little bit lower on this list. But first, I have Colton Parayko, who has been averaging 2.6 blocks per game so far, only, again, plays on Sunday. If you want a guy that plays Saturday and Sunday, Pulock, Mayfield, and Pelech, all of the New York Islanders, been doing pretty good on the block shots department. They're not going to do a whole lot else for you, but if you need block shots, they'll probably get you 4 or 5 over the weekend. And then I have Jonas Brodin, who again is a bit more of a desperation ad, but isn't the worst in the world. Moving into hits, and again, green means that they play both Saturday and Sunday. Not green means they only play on Sunday. Cal Clutterbuck is the number one ad though, guys. This guy's been hitting like a freaking monster all year, averaging 5.3 hits per game. So if that's something you need to catch up on or something you want to hold on to, he's going to be the guy that you're going to want to add. He's not going to get you any points or really do anything else, but he definitely will hit. Next, I have Mike Hardman of the Chicago Blackhawks, and he's been hitting a lot too, been averaging 3.7 hits and averaged even more than that last year over only 8 games. But he's also playing on a line with DeBrincat, so he might actually have a little bit of point upside too. I wouldn't bank on that, but there is definitely a chance. Then there's Matt Martin, also of the Islanders, who's been averaging about 3.6 hits a game. Again, not my favorite option for anything else but hits, but if you need hits, he's someone that will do that for you. Then I have Klim Kostin of the St. Louis Blues, and then I have Marcus Foligno of the Minnesota Wild, who has a lot of point upside, especially if Zuccarello remains out of the lineup, because Foligno is playing on that top line. And my last category, guys, is face-off wins. And first, and it's not even close, it's Joel Eriksson Ek. If he's available, guys, and you need face-off wins, you need to catch up a little bit, or you want to hold your lead in face-off wins, Joel Eriksson Ek is the guy that you have to grab. He's averaging over 10 face-off wins per game. Brock Nelson comes close at 8.6. Then I got JG Pageau at 8.5. Chandler Stevenson at 7.6. Michael Rasmussen at 6.4. And Nick Roy, who's been getting 6 face-off wins per game over his last 5 games. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Hope you guys enjoyed the content, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.